Hello, good to see you again, and I hope you had a good week. I would like to continue my story and talk to you about the Holocaust. Today I would like to discuss a topic which is really at the core of the issue, why I personally have not spoken about the Holocaust all these years. It is true, I have a book of essays on the Holocaust. In German, I've written an article here and there, but essentially I've really never exposed myself and my past in the Holocaust. Why? Because basically it's a topic which is very difficult to talk about. When I came as a child to Winnipeg, Canada in 1948 after the war, and I was placed by the Canadian Jewish Congress, who were my guardians, with an elderly family. Then started school. Everybody told me, forget the old country, you're now in a new country, a new life, change your name, and be part of us and don't talk about it. As a matter of fact, I remember very well, years later when I was in college in Chicago, and started at the Hebrew Theological College for my rabbinate, I got a position as a teacher in a school. One of the questions which I was asked before I was engaged as a teacher was, do you talk about the Holocaust? So I said, why do you ask me the question? When the topic comes up, I try to answer. I said, no, we would like you not to mention the subject at all to our children. So all this time, from the beginning of my, so to speak, life in liberty and life in a normal society, the pressure was on to forget the past, not to talk about it, because it revoked many memories. I really don't understand why the Jewish people in America or Canada were so upset about not talking about the Holocaust. They really did not like to have it mentioned. And so that was one issue, or one point which puts on you a pressure to not to mention your past. You try to be careful when you talk with people. We talk with children as a teacher, and not to mention it because they might be upset, they might be disturbed emotionally, and it's an issue which to this day plagues the Jewish people. It's a traumatic phenomenon. It's something which really brings fear into your heart, and therefore it's not something you talk about, especially when you yourself were involved in these issues alone. So that was one reason why I did not talk about it much. The second one is, I remember in the forest, when we lived in the forest, there was among us a man. His name was Leibowitz. I don't remember his first name. He was a bookkeeper by profession. He had two sisters. They survived and he did not survive the war. But all the time he was going around and always asking people, do you have a piece of paper? Do you have a piece of paper? Why? Because he was writing a diary of what was happening every day. And I recall my family, I remember my aunt saying, people were talking, what is he doing it for? We're not going to survive anyway. And when we survive, who will care about it? So there was this so to say, ingrate feeling that don't talk about it because nobody cares about it. Don't talk about it because people don't like to be disturbed and don't want to hear your stories. So that was point number two, why you kind of do not talk about it. I personally was, in a way, impressed by this. The third reason is because, to me, the Holocaust was always something unique, a kind of divine experience which you cannot share with anybody else. because it should not be used for any other motivation or purpose other than just commemorating in pain and in sorrow, with tears, with a broken heart, the events of those years, the people who died like holy martyrs because of the cause of being what they were. Born Jewish people who died just because they were Jewish. Infants as well as old age people. And therefore I felt that whenever people spoke about the Shoah, the Holocaust, they were abusing the memories of these people because it was being used for some purpose it was hard to fathom, hard to explain, how to understand, because there was something which nobody could grasp it. I was once, just as I was starting out to be a rabbi, that was in Lafayette, Indiana, in February. It was during Brotherhood Week. I spoke to a group of people from the church, from a church, and during the discussion, one of the ladies, after I explained to her what happened in the Shoah, because that was part of the things people wanted to know about Judaism and how Jews managed to survive, she said to me, "You must hate us." And I was taken aback in a shock. I said, "No, why should I hate you?" She said, "Because of what happened. How could you not hate us?" And I said to her, "You know, hate is too common an expression. What happened to us is beyond hate. It's something which you cannot grasp. It's beyond explanation, beyond understanding. It's totally boggling the human mind. So when I would say to you, I hate you, it would be like, you know, you slapped my hand, or you insulted me, I hate you for this. Hate is not a term which can be applied and used in this particular situation. What happened created an effect. It's like a void or blood in history which will have to stand on its own, by itself, for itself. And the Holocaust is something which you cannot explain in words, you cannot describe in words. It's an emotion. It's something which transcends human reality. It transcends human feelings, transcends human thought. It transcends the very existence which we go through every life. And so I felt it was abusive to this memory to speak about the Holocaust. I thought like as if I was profaning the memory of my mother, my infant brother, my father, who were killed. And then I said, I'm going to talk about them to people, to give them a kind of a sense of what? Pleasure, that they're listening to me, or a kind of a sympathy which they can express for my suffering. Because of that, shall I talk about them? Their death is sacred. And that is how I feel, and that's how I felt about the Shoah. It was a sacred, holy episode in the history of the Jewish people, and all those who died were martyrs, and we should not talk about them. So I didn't. So why am I talking about it now? Because I look around and I see maybe I should talk because people are denying the Holocaust. People are accusing the Jews. People are calling all kinds of things, calling out against the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is a call to murder. It's not an expression of an opinion. It's a vicious call to murder. That was this is the consequence of anti-Semitism throughout the ages, especially in our lifetime. Anti-Semitism is not a casual conversation among philosophers, theologians, or sociologists, or other people. It is a call to the next person to join them in the murder of Jews. And when people listen and keep quiet, or they turn away, they, in a sense, open the doors for murder. There's no such things in the case of anti-Semitism of innocent bystanders. Because if you're a bystander, you're enabling the anti-Semite to carry out his vicious intentions. And therefore, I decided to talk about my story in the hope that perhaps it will influence you, the listener, of friends, to turn against anti-Semitism and join our movement of people united against anti-Semitism. Raise your hand and push the button with the thumb up, and we'll hear from you, and you will hear from you afterwards. So thank you very much. And thank you to my producer, Mohammed. He's a great guy, and without him we couldn't do it. Thank you.